The Las Vegas Sportsline. Presented by the Westgate Las Vegas, home of the world's largest race and sports book and the Super Contest.
Money won is twice as sweet as money earned.
Presented by WagerTalk.com.
And good afternoon, everybody. I almost swallowed the microphone just now. It was closer than I thought it was.
I'm not even going to go there with
No, I could have lost some teeth there. That would not have been a pleasant experience. All right, I'm Dave Cokin. Marco DAngelo's here. Ari Platinum's at the controls. It is our Superbook USA Tuesday. Jeff Sherman will be along. I guess we should mention this right at the top. There is now a 3 on the board for the Super Bowl. South Point, about a half an hour ago, maybe a little more than that, went to -3 on the game. Wow.
If there was anybody that was going to go there first, it would be South Point because they're the one book that doesn't play with the
They don't like
juice.
half points.
Yeah, they don't play with the juice, though. They'll go ahead and they'll move the line before they go, 2.5 minus 125 or something.
Yep. So anyway, if you want +3, go there. Okay. And I don't know if other places are going to get involved. We'll kind of get an idea from that from Jeff Sherman in a little bit because Jeff will be going over all the odds with us. So we've got basketball as well, NHL, 2 golf tournaments this week, so all the big players are playing in one location or the other. Some interesting prices as well. Last night, we talked about this yesterday. It wasn't last night, it was in the afternoon. But this was a potential flat spot for the Golden Knights, and you know what? They got caught.
That's what I said with the game last night. I'm kicking myself, Dave, as I'm watching the game for not grabbing that nice plus money dog. It was like, I said it on the air. It was Minnesota or pass. I'm just going to be a fan tonight and root for the Knights. But that was a mistake. That was a bad spot for the Knights, and it showed up. And give Minnesota credit. They played a good game last night.
They had to do. They slowed the game down. Did not play at the pace that the Golden Knights prefer, which is fast. And got themselves 2 points, and that's 2 the Golden Knights don't get. So, it's going to happen to every team. It's not an alarm sign or anything like that. But sports are the same by and large in terms of there being spots where teams really going to be fired up for a game, and unfortunately, if you're a fan of the team, spots where they're just more likely to not bring their A game. And the Wild came in and took it to the Golden Knights from the standpoint of controlling the tempo of yesterday's game, and eventually they got themselves a win.
And, Dave, and that's the reason why, we preach all the time, you have to use numbers in your handicapping and stats, but it can't be the only thing because these guys are human. They don't play at the same level for every game, and there's indicators for us as pros where we can find those spots where we feel we might have one team that's going to be more motivated than the other, and that was definitely the case yesterday.
Was that also the case for the 76ers as they unloaded on the Houston Rockets? 76ers are looking like a team that's going to make some noise in the second half of the season.
Yeah, they just got to get the consistency down, Dave. This is a team that'll play like they played last night, and then they'll come back and play a team like Chicago or New York and struggle just to get by.
Young teams more prevalent to things like that happening.
Absolutely, especially a team that's loaded with a lot of superstars.
And the 2018-19 season, I don't think the 2018 portion mattered at all, but the 2019 part is starting to kick in as the Warriors decided they're open for business now. The season is officially underway for them, and they just came in and beat the snot out of the Lakers at Staples last night. And it's, look, we can sit here and talk about all the other teams in the league. Golden State's still the best team in the league, and it's not close. When they want to play, they are dominant.
And they just got better.
Yep.
They just got, DeMarcus Cousins back. He's started 2 games for them. How about, all right, you got Kevin Durant. You got Steph Curry. Curry was hurt. He comes back. He's doing his thing. You forget about Klay Thompson. And just as soon as you forget about Klay Thompson, because, he gets lost in the shuffle of all the superstars there, he goes off in just draining threes from all over the court last night. And then you add, the new element with Cousins in the lineup. That
lineup's ridiculous.
The last 8, we go now, February and March. This is all gearing up, like you said, for the run. Pencil them in. I don't see anybody.
Pencil?
Yeah. Oh, you already used it. You used ink?
Yeah. I mean, come on. Well, look at the preseason futures on them. Were ridiculous.
Right.
I think it's going to win. Unless this team, something really weird happens, so they get injuries or something like that, they're going to win. Not a lot of suspense. It's just a matter of who they beat and how many games it takes. Time to look at tonight's action. Let's do so with the Tuesday MJ Christensen 4-4.
1, 2, 3 into the 4.
Put them fours up. Put the fours up, I said. Do it right now.
Tonight's action is just around the bend, and the guys want to get your night off to a great start.
4.
It's the Las Vegas Sports Lines 4 at 4.
Not 1, not 2, not 3, but 4. Unbelievable.
Who knows? One of these two teams might have the misfortune of running into the Warriors in the playoffs, assuming they get there. That's the Portland Trailblazers and Oklahoma City Thunder. They match up in the NBA tonight, Marco.
Yeah, you know what, Dave? This is a tough spot for Portland scheduling-wise. They played last night in Utah.
Right.
And Oklahoma City played yesterday, too, but there's a little bit of a difference. Both were on the road, but Oklahoma City played at 12:30 in the afternoon, East Coast, in New York, and then had time to fly back.
And didn't play in altitude.
Yeah, didn't play in altitude, absolutely. And now Portland comes in. But I'll tell you what, that's the only negative I've got in this game as far as Portland goes. They're playing their best basketball of the season right now. They've gone 9-3 straight up and against the spread in their last 12 ball games. And we got a little bit of an angle here with Portland. I know you like league-wide angles as opposed to team ones, but here's one on the league. Last 5 seasons, play an underdog, which is Portland tonight, revenging a home loss versus an opponent off a road win. As I said, Oklahoma City was on the road yesterday in New York, got an easy win. This has gone 150 wins, 90 losses over 5 years. That's a 62.5% angle.
On a very healthy sample size.
Yeah, absolutely. I got to go ahead and go with Portland here. And let's not forget, Oklahoma City, 44-61 as a favorite the last 2 seasons. Can't really get behind them laying points.
In the SEC tonight, as we look to some college basketball, Auburn on the road against the improving South Carolina Gamecocks. Frank Martin's team has started to show some life in conference play after struggling in the early portion of the season. And it would appear that he was trying to put some pieces together in those games that don't matter a whole lot. They've played better lately. Auburn coming off a loss to Kentucky in what turned out to be a thriller. It wasn't a thriller for most of the game. It looked like Auburn was going to get its doors blown in at home by Kentucky in front of Charles Barkley. Embarrassing performance, but they came flying on in the second half and actually got the game even late. Kentucky did pull it out in what turned out to be a great basketball game. Will Auburn get back on track tonight as they travel to Columbia to take on the rising Gamecocks?
Yeah, I'm going to look to the rising Gamecocks here, Dave, and a couple things about it. Even though that wasn't true, I mean, it was an upset by the line. Auburn was favored in that game.
But
and
this
was
no real upset.
Right. The name is Kentucky.
Right.
Okay, so that was a big game for Auburn. It was like, I like to refer to them as their statement game. They're up and coming in the SEC, but you still got to get through the guy that's always been there, and that's Kentucky. And because they came up short, this reminds me a lot. If you remember our play of the day yesterday, we went with Rutgers against Nebraska. Mm-hmm. Nebraska had their statement game, came up short against Michigan State, went on the road, had that carryover effect. I'm going to go ahead and take the live home dog here, take South Carolina. I don't know that they pull the upset, but I think this one goes right down to the wire.
I like that angle. Here's what, look, in all these great years Villanova's had, the team that's been a real thorn in their side has had a tendency to be Butler. And what will the Butler get it done again tonight? Butler is at home in a game that's, to me, it's a pick 'em game. If you pick the winner, you're going to get the money in all likelihood. This is the game. I don't have a play in the game, and it's one of those games I know it's going to get a lot of action and a lot of opinions cast on Twitter. And I'm seeing this is like split right down the middle. Half the guys who handicap on Twitter are playing the Wildcats, half are playing Butler. It's that kind of a game. I mean, that's why we put it in the 4 at 4. This is a marquee matchup type of game that starts at 4 o'clock, or it might start at 3:30. I'm not sure. It's one of the early games, and it's a game I want to watch because I really don't have any idea what's going to happen.
Well, no question. Villanova lost a lot from last year's team, so they had to rebuild. They actually didn't they drop out of the top 25 for the first time this year at one point. They're back in there now. But this is a spot, Dave, where I think we're starting to see the buy sign on Villanova, and we talk about this a lot with young teams. Forget what you see in November and December. It's what you see in January and February as that team starts to mature and gel. And if you look quietly, here comes Villanova once again. They're putting it together. They're playing some good basketball right now. They've won 6 in a row. I'm going to go ahead and go with them. They did lose a forward. He wasn't a big scorer. Swider, I think was his name, but he was a minutes guy. He played generally, got them 12 to 15 minutes off the bench. They might miss him as far as depth goes in the game in case they get in any foul trouble. But I like Villanova in this one. I'll go ahead and take Villanova as a rare underdog.
All right, and we go to the Big 12 for our last of the four games. This is a 4 o'clock game. Texas Tech and Kansas State, the Big 12. Arrow up right now in Kansas State. The Wildcats got one of their walking wounded back, and it has made a big difference. The Wildcats have gone on a run in the Big 12. Can they keep it going tonight as they face a Texas Tech team that has lost 2 in a row? And quite frankly, they were just plain bad in the game against Baylor. They got out to a 13-point lead in that game, and they stopped playing defense and stopped playing offense. It went from 13 up to 13 down, a 26-point swing the wrong way in a Texas Tech game. You would think you would not see that. Couple of runs to get back in it, but they couldn't maintain the pace. And Baylor, which is playing some surprisingly really good basketball right now, especially since they lost their best interior offensive guy. They've picked it up with team speed, and they burned Texas Tech. Chris Beard is a pretty intense coach. You have to think that at the very least, doesn't mean they're going to win the game, but at the very least, you're going to get a focused Texas Tech squad tonight.
You are, and I think that's going to be trouble for Kansas State. Couple things that I like in this game, Dave. First of all, this is going to be the toughest defense Kansas State has faced all year. It's the best
as long
defense.
As it's not the one they faced that showed up on Saturday at Waco.
Absolutely, yeah. But Texas Tech is still the number 1 ranked team defensively in shooting percentage. They're only allowing opponents 36% on the year.
And equally strong on both 2s and 3s, by the way.
Yes, good both ways. And, Dave, this is one of those angles. We actually talked about it on video last week when we were doing some college basketball tips. Texas Tech was an 11.5-point favorite at home. They already played this season. They won but didn't cover. It was a much tougher game. And I think this was a case where Texas Tech, looked past Kansas State. Now you're not going to see that because Kansas State, as you said, they've put together a winning streak and they're making noise. I look for Texas Tech to come to play here, and I will go ahead and take Texas Tech, and I will I'm getting the small number here. I think wrong team's favorite in this one off of recent results. I like Texas Tech.
Don't forget to check out what's happening at MJ Christensen. Not only is it one of the most established businesses in Las Vegas going back 3/4 of a century, family-owned, one location, and they treat every customer like they're part of the family. Find out for yourself by checking them out at Boca Park. Go online, mjchristensen.com. Check out their Facebook page for exclusive specials, information, all kinds of good stuff at MJ Christensen. Jeff Sherman joins us from Superbook USA, as he does almost every Tuesday at this time, unless he's jammed up with something. Hi, Jeff. How are you?
Good. Bunkered down at the Salmons compound doing some Super Bowl props.
Yeah, and we know that. Do we have an over and under yet on the number of props that will be posted at the Superbook?
Well, Ed said that he added about 40 from what we did last year, so I think we're going to have somewhere over 400 this time.
Wow.
And then if you look at all the available wagering options, I know last year we had over 1,000, so probably over 1,200 options.
Well, and that is right there, in a nutshell, is why you have to have the app. Okay, and here's the cool thing. Even if you don't have an account set up yet at the Superbook, you can still view everything that's available on the menu. You don't need to be a customer to do that. So just go to the App Store, make sure you've got the app downloaded, and then start studying those props.
Yeah, and just so everyone's clear on this, we go up with these Thursday night at 7 p.m., right, and they're available in the book only because we have a long line of people all the way from 7 to 10 p.m., and then we turn them available on the app Friday morning.
Okay.
So from that point forward, then you'll be able to bet them on the app.
Now, there already are a handful of props that are available on the app. I know that because I checked it this morning. One of the first things I did when I got up. But the bulk of them will be on the app on Friday.
Yes, Friday morning when we open, the remainder of what we're doing. And we're not going to be putting these up in segments, basically. What we have up now is the initial part of it.
Right.
We'll finish everything off Thursday night at 7 p.m. So when you look on your app Friday morning at 8. That's basically everything that we're going to have going forward.
All right.